Have you ever seen one of these? This is a crop duster. They turned into a single engine air attack airplane to fight fires and lay retardant down. And not too long ago, they put floats on it and scoops, and now it's a water scooper, and it scoops up about 800 gallons or so into the hopper, and then they go drop that on fires, actually on fires. We're going to check this out, the FireBoss. Anyway, hey, I'm Scott Perdue. Today on FlyWire, we're going to talk to George Moore and John, I forget your last name. John Thomas. They're FireBoss pilots for Dauntless Air out of Minnesota.
Appleton, Minnesota. Right.
And they're down here in Mineral Wells, Texas, waiting to see if we have a fire. Of course, what they didn't tell them was that we've had a lot of rain in Texas this year, so everything's still green. Usually it's brown by this time of year.
We actually had one fire.
Yeah?
Yeah, we actually made the first actual FireBoss scooped water drops from a FireBoss in Texas just a few weeks ago. So we have had actually one fire so far, but it's drying out now, so we're expecting more and more.
Well, tell me a little bit about that fire. How did it go? Was it around here in this area?
It was more or less non-event. Yeah, it was between PK Lake and Palo Pinto Lake, and we actually got our scoops from Palo Pinto and made two apiece on that and got it and put it on the fire. But the Texas Forest Service people were out there in real good time. They truly had it lassoed before we got there, but they didn't know for sure and wanted to make sure because it was getting close to some houses, and that's why we're here, is to save those houses. So they wanted to make sure. Anyway, that was the first of many, hopefully, that we're going to be doing.
That's cool. Well, I saw you guys fly today. It actually looks like a HOOT. Looks, yeah. It's like being in a movie. So, John, how did you get into this? How did you get into flying FireBoss?
I flew in the Marine Corps for almost 20 years as a ground attack pilot flying the Harrier. I retired in 2009 and I got into crop dusting. And then in 2013, I transitioned to flying the wheeled versions of these FireBosses, the 802C. And 2 years ago, I transitioned from the wheeled seats to the Amphibian FireBoss.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Did you have your seaplane rating before that, or you just do it and then do the FireBoss?
I got my seaplane rating in 2015, kind of as a backup, just to have it done in case I ever needed it. And in 2018, I needed it. The wheeled company that I was flying for went out of business for the fire business, so I was without my job. And luckily, I had gotten the seaplane rating, and I was able to walk right into this job, and it's been awesome ever since.
John was a highly sought after commodity. As soon as the other company went out of business, Dauntless called him and said he's one of the all-stars picked up out of the defunct company. So
worked out.
That's good. That's good to have a job.
That's right.
George, how about you? How did you get into this?
For my story's not near as exciting as his. Mostly I'm an old crop duster. I started out crop dusting in Mississippi. I've lived in Texas, or in right here, some in Texas as well, and I've lived in Houston for about the last 20 years. And I came through. Actually flew for an air show team that was sponsored by Red Bread and Frozen Pizza for a few years, and
a Stearman.
And a Stearman, yeah, right, big Stearman people. So, and then went from there to an anti-narcotics program down in Colombia. I flew on for about 13 years, just short of 13 years in the wheeled version of the 802 as well, and where we were using the Air Tractor built here in only Texas to kill the coca crop that they used to make cocaine crack with down there, and a lot of firefighting along the way too, and I got out of that in 2014 full time, and I've been doing mostly firefighting full time since then. And this is coming up on our second season here with Dauntless Air.
Cool, and you guys go all over. You spend a month or two or whatever in Alaska and California and Washington, Texas.
Right.
Well, actually, we start our season in April in Minnesota, and then usually sometime in May, a couple of airplanes go up to Alaska, and they're there for a couple months, and then as the season up there gets like busy, they'll order more airplanes. So George and I went up there June 12th of this year and got back down to the lower 48 August 9th time frame. So, and then it usually runs through mid to late September. I guess we have done one California short contract, but still never flew on an actual flyer there. But that's like one state that we haven't really
Spending
broken
time
into with the seats or the FireBoss.
Right. Well, we stay busy most other places between. So our focus, I guess, we start off as our bread and butter contract at the beginning of the season is Minnesota, and then swinging up through Alaska and back down to the Pacific Northwest and mainland Washington and a lot of Idaho and Montana as well. But so we concentrate on some of those areas that have a lot of water. But you guys, gosh, you and Steve went to Nevada last year, didn't you? You worked even in Nevada.
We did the first FireBoss drops in Nevada last year too. So yeah, we were trying to expand the lake program. So now we're here in like Texas finally. So
yeah, it's really
maybe
up.
Oklahoma will be next.
It could be. Well, George, you live in Houston, so
right.
You're not that far from home, relatively speaking, from
too
Texas.
Too far to drive home at night.
For a weekend, yeah.
But definitely can go home on the weekends. It's a whole lot easier to go home on the weekends than or my days off. We actually work a 12-day schedule, and then we have 2 days off after that. So we 12 and 2. And so, yeah, we can go home, and I'm hopefully going to go get my steerman this time when I'm off, bring it back, and we're going to be up here.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. What about you, John? Where do you live?
I live near Denver, so just about an hour south of Denver, out in the rural area of Colorado. At an air park, actually.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Y'all know I live in an air park, too.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about to me, the real kicker. I mean, this is an amphib, so landing it on floats on the water or on the surface is one thing, and that's cool. But what's really cool about this airplane are the scoops.
Right.
Tell me about that. Tell me about how do you set up the landing on the water and go through the whole thing? Because I imagine you get the drag, and then when you open the gates.
Go ahead. You mean to do it? I'll climb up and
I was going to climb up and
okay.
do it for you. Let me unplug here, and I'll go up and operate the scoops, and you can actually video them.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah, that'd be great.
While he's ascending, I'll kind of basically put it down there.
All right. Tell me how the scoops work and how the whole thing. But I'm just fascinated with the whole idea of hitting the water, open those scoops, because I can imagine you get a huge pitch down moment, but then when you start adding weight to it, you got to put power to it. How does all that stuff work?
Right, you do. And I don't know if do you ride horses?
I did ride horses a little bit when I was younger.
There are a couple of times that I got thrown from a horse when I was a kid, and there's a certain point where you feel that horse kind of tighten up and get ready to sling you. That's about what it does. when you drop those things, it kind of ducks a little bit, and then you're on the water, stick back, throttle full forward, sticks and scoops out. And there's a real timing issue right there where the power's coming in, the scoops are going down, starting to create some drag. So if the scoops don't deploy fast enough and the power comes in too fast, you can get yourself back up out of the water in a compromising situation that you don't want to be in. And if the power doesn't come back in fast enough and you still have enough inertia to throw some water in there, then you get bogged down and it's hard to get back up on step, and you're in a situation. You've probably seen the video of the guy that ends up digging the proper in I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I don't think I've seen that.
There's no FireBoss video where the guy's, what he ends up having is he's in the water with partial load, and the airplane's not certified to float. Mm-hmm. It only floats. The floats only float an empty airplane or an empty hopper. So if you have a full load or partial load, it's sitting way low in the water. So anyway, there's a real timing issue on the scooping and getting that power forward, stick back, scoops deployed, and start getting water coming into the airplane and get some inertia back, and not giving up too much inertia as you're starting that scoop. And then you're loading approximately 6,700 pounds of water in about 15 seconds. It's about a 3,000 gallon minute rate. So you can imagine that the water's going in up at the top up there. So the moment, the mass, velocity, and inertia and everything that's happening in there is throwing the airplane around pretty good. So you have to be you have to positively control the airplane. You can't let it do anything it wants to, and it tends to want to get into an oscillation, and it gets to really bucking if you don't watch it. And sometimes it'll do it whether you watch it or not.
Yeah.
And so then it just comes down to making the airplane do what you want it to do. And that's where a lot of old steerman training comes in, and not letting that airplane, making it do what you want it to do, and not letting it do what it wants to do, because it will definitely do something you don't want it to do.
Well, I know what you're saying about the Stearman, because my dad, he taught me how to fly the Stearman, and he just, you fly the airplane, don't let the airplane fly you.
Exactly. And loading this airplane with water in 6,700 pounds in 15 seconds that's the prime example of that.
Well, it sounds to me like a perishable skill.
Definitely.
That's why I went out and practiced this morning.
Yeah. How many scoops and drops did you do this morning?
7.
That's really what is so fun about the airplane, and what keeps me interested in it, and what keeps me going out on the road when that's kind of the hard part. I say I fight fires for free and fly the FireBoss for free. I get paid to be out on the road for 6 months of my life a year. But it's such a challenge, even for somebody I've been flying professionally for over 25 years, and it's still a challenge to me in the FireBoss, especially getting a load and then fight the skill it takes to fight fire is a whole nother skill. It's two completely different skills. But like as in Alaska, we were scooping from some really small lakes, and you'd fly over that lake, and you're so far from anything, and you say, oh, I think we could probably scoop that lake. Let's go give it a try. So we switch out leading every day, and somebody go down and sit on the lake. You'd make a pass across the lake there and see how deep it is, and the guy from above you looks down and watches and see if you're kicking up any mud, because you don't know how deep. Those things aren't surveyed or anything. And it's okay, it looks deep enough. And then we try to scoop it and see if it'll scoop, and if it's long enough. And fortunately, in the FireBoss, say we have a kind of a trump card when it comes to those kind of performance issues, is that we can, if it's not working, we can just let the load go. And this isn't working, so dump it. Let's go somewhere else, maybe.
What's unique about the FireBoss as compared to the wheeled seats? With the wheeled seats, you like work off tanker base, you get a little bit of retardant, you might fly for a half hour to the fire, drop it, cruise back, land, get on a load. We carry about 3.5 hours of fuel on board. Once we take off from any airport, we go to work. We're constantly working, but either we're scooping, we're dropping, I come back with water. It's just constant working back and forth.
So you can get a really short cycle time between the scoop and the drop.
Oh, yeah, that's ideal. But the point is, 3.5 hours goes by quick. They're just constantly working and scooping and dropping and whatnot. We're built seats, which every fire has for a certain tool.
Right.
You just stay busy with this plane. It's constant. Head's always very much engaged with what's going on the water surface. Wind's changing, the conditions change. Boaters out there, the condition of the fire, the smoke, and other aircraft here hasn't seen a void and all that. So it's a very, very busy job, but you just love it.
Yeah, well, it's a challenge, and what keeps it fun.
Right. Yeah,
keeps
it's
you
a lot
busy.
of fun.
Yeah.
And anytime you go somewhere and there, I guess the firefighting term for it, structure's threatened. But anytime you go somewhere and you make sure that somebody's house is still there at the end of the day, aside from being a lot of fun, that's super rewarding. There's nothing like that feeling.
And there's a little something different between a scooper and a single engine seat who's dropping retardant. Is you drop water, you're suppressing the fire. You're actually dropping on the fire itself instead of dropping next to the fire trying to shape where it goes.
Right.
So you guys can put fires out, not just delay them.
Depending on how small, it's hard to actually. It's very rare to actually put a fire out, but a FireBoss is capable, especially if we're close to a water source. We're capable of handing the ground guys back something that they can easily deal with. And I've been so surprised. I flew the wheeled version. I've been carted in the wheeled version since 2004, and I think I've had more real effect on fire in the last 2 seasons that I've been flying the FireBoss than the whole rest of the time that I've flown flown. But it's a totally different tactic, though. Like you say, most of the other aircraft are using retardant, and they're building a line. They're trying to corral a fire. And with us, like I say, we're going straight to it, straight on it, and putting water on fire, putting wet stuff on hot stuff, like I like to term it. So it's satisfying.
Yeah, we work for the ground guys. I mean, we're there to support them, and so we don't, even though we can put a pretty big effect on the fire. It's the ground guys who do a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the Marines get so well.
Yeah, you guys were air support for ground guys anyway. Right. So it was more fun dropping bombs to do that or water?
Well, I guess I missed the military flying. This is the next best thing. I mean, there's no other job in the world I think you do outside the military that it's as much fun as this job.
Well, the good thing is nobody's shooting at you in this job.
Yeah. Most of the time, yeah. I have gotten shot crop dusting, and I've heard of getting shot playing fires too. So it does happen.
Crazy people.
Yeah,
I got shot at a lot. So.
Well, that's mighty cool. Oh, when you guys were flying, I googled that, and they said there's 100 that they've made.
There's 100 in the world today, exactly 100 exactly and we have 12, and Airspray has 5, right? Or is it?
I think we have 13.
13. There's less than 20 in the United States.
So there's more are going overseas than they're here.
Yeah, but they're spread out all over the world. Spain has a significant number. They're like 20, and Canada has several. They're in the double digits. Croatia has some, and several other European countries use them. And
Israel's got a couple.
Israel's got a couple, and Australia runs 4 or 5.
Interesting.
So they're and the airframe has really proven itself around the world anywhere there's any water at all, and it's an amazing airplane. It amazes me every day. The more I fly it, the more I think of it. It's been awesome to fly it so far.
While we're talking about ground firefighters, we actually have one right here. Randy's
former ground, yeah,
for years.
Yeah.
You want to come up and talk?
No, he doesn't want to talk. Well, hey, thanks for talking to me and showing me the airplane. It was I sure appreciate it. Sure. It was great to see you guys fly.
All right, good deal.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for take care of my house so it doesn't burn from those wildfires.
Sure thing. That's what we like doing, making sure they're all there at the end of the day.
Well, there you have it. That was the FireBoss. It was, I tell you what, it really looks like a hoot to fly. Probably the most fun you can have short of dropping bombs. But hey, that's just me. So I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something about what it's like to fly not only the FireBoss and do the scooping and dropping it on fires, but a little bit about what the life is as a pilot and how you can get to be a FireBoss pilot and fight fires. It's a pretty cool job. You got to spend a little bit of time on the road, but you get to do some pretty cool stuff. So if you like the video, thanks for watching, and hit subscribe and the bell if you want to get notifications for next time. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time on FlyWire.